Today we are about to highlight the edu in edutainment. This episode is all about getting your education and if you should go to school.
There's no need even to have a college degree at all, or even high school.
Some textbooks are $200 a book, and they expect our kids and parents to pay $200 for this.
You know, school is something that can give you a lot of education, but creativity and vision is something you can't get in school.
Well, I'm just a really great worker and I've learned this and I've learned that and I think this is like...
No, that's not gonna make you stand out. There's a lot of people who have learned the same things you've learned. What makes you different? What makes you special? Now, can leadership be learned in school?
It is possible for life to lead you faster than your mind is prepared to handle.
You don't have to be religious to recognize real leadership. What's up, Kalima Cam family? It's your girl Kalima, and you are watching Kalima's Camera, where I help you get it up. Get your positivity up.
Get your edutainment up.
Because today we are about to highlight the edu in edutainment. This episode is all about getting your education. Now, I know this is like one of those subjects that a lot of people have very strong opinions about. Maybe you grew up very traditionally with families that are a little bit more, traditional and maybe even conservative in the sense of like you don't not go to college. Like you just go to college. That's what you're supposed to do. It doesn't really matter what major, or maybe it does matter what major, but as long as you go, you're doing what you're supposed to do as a real adult in life. I beg to differ. So those of you who know me well know that I am an entertainment host, a professional entertainment journalist here in Los Angeles. I also do marketing, photography. I am one of those freelance entrepreneurs who have made life a little bit more richer, or a lot more richer, by being completely independent and taking that creative route, even though I do have a bachelor's degree in journalism. One thing about that degree is that you don't really need a degree in it to work in it, especially in the era of social media, where if you have hundreds of thousands plus followers, you are a publication yourself. So therefore, whatever you want to publicize, you have more eyes than most of these newspapers out here. So that's something to take into consideration when you're choosing to go to school. And if you should go to school, is this major something that I need to pay and learn about, or is this something that I can fully just sort of be creative, do a little research myself on YouTube, and maybe do an internship and fully just take advantage of it myself? Like I said, going to school, told myself, okay, Kalima, when you're done with school, you have to go to Los Angeles, because you know that if you're done with school and you just go to work and home, you will never get out of that like comfortability. You need to like push yourself, move out, move away, and like just go for it. A lot of you guys have heard this story before, but I only had $3,000. I was really like nervous. I grew up with a family that was strict and very conservative, where they were not like gonna just be like, yeah, you should move out. Like, no, they're like, you're not moving out as a woman by yourself. Like, nobody in my family really did that by themselves. So I, at 25 years old, was just like, I gotta do it. Something's telling me to do it. I had an opportunity to interview for a huge job as well as audition for another job, and Los Angeles jobs are very picky because there's so many people who are kind of in LA but don't really live in LA, and then those employers are really upset because they got to pick up the pieces for those fickle employees. So even applying for jobs, they were like, you gotta move out here, you gotta actually send us a physical address of you living out here. So I was like, listen, I'm never gonna move to LA unless I at least go there. I literally had to tell myself mentally, once the money runs out, bring yourself back home. It's not like you don't it's not like you're homeless. It's not like you can't just start over.
My daddy told me, son, you niggas gotta know. My daddy told me.
But literally taking that leap of faith and taking that risk and taking that chance, I realized, oh my goodness, 2 months of living in LA, just meeting people, just networking, was so much more valuable than sitting at home. I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, she won just because I took that step to keep it moving, to follow my dreams. Little did I know I'd be here for 4 years. So I think that when you're choosing your education, it's something that you really have to really fill out the pros and cons. And what better way than to hear from the professionals themselves?
Average kid spends $1,200 a year on books. $1,200 a year on books. Some textbooks are $200 a book. I went and got a hold of the most expensive book, $200. Contacted my publisher. I said, how much would a book like this cost if I wanted to make 5,000 of this copy of this book? They looked at it, they came back, they said $6 a book. I said, let me get this straight. So this school gets the book, it costs them $6 to make it, and they expect our kids and parents to pay $200 for this. That's 33 times more on what it costs to make money.
You know, we ask kids that are 16 to 18 years old to make $100,000 debt decisions when they go off to university. And they're not prepared for that. They don't know what they're getting themselves into. They just assume, okay, I'm going to pay 4 years of education at $25,000 a pop, and when I come out the other side, somehow I'll be able to pay it back.
Right.
That's not how life works anymore.
School is expensive. Oh my goodness, the amount of money, like thank God I had FAFSA. I personally, this is someone who is a professional in journalism and just an entrepreneur on the creative and artistic route of entertainment. I definitely found myself learning way more on my own than I ever did in school.
There's no need even to have a college degree at all, or even high school. Say people like Bill Gates or Larry Ellison, Steve Jobs. These guys didn't graduate from college. But if you had a chance to hire them, of course, that would be a good idea.
Now, listen, shouts out USF, St. Petersburg. I learned a lot about different avenues and sites and resources and researching, and, you know, those were tools that I was given very quickly versus, yes, maybe I would have taken a little bit longer to learn those things on my own. But honey, there's a such thing as YouTube. I mean, there's everything here. But of course, you gotta filter through, you know? You gotta kind of see, okay, who's just sort of gassing me up with just information and who's like really giving me, you know, valuable things and tools that I actually can use on a professional level. You know, school is something that can give you a lot of education, but creativity and vision is something you can't get in school. You're either gifted or you're not. And it doesn't mean that you're not gifted in a different arena versus the arena that you signed up for to go to school for, you know?
I'm winning.
And so when you walk into a boardroom with a bunch of guys in suits who all went to college, you're fine.
Yeah, I mean, because they read a bunch of words. I've lived a bunch of life.
Well, that's true. Their law degree doesn't intimidate them.
Right.
It kind of evens us out, whether they know it or not.
Where do you think you get that self-esteem from? Seriously. I mean, most guys...
My mom, first and foremost.
It's just like a photographer. You can go to class, you can learn about the camera, you can talk to some of the most successful photographers, but do you have vision? Do you have an aesthetic that we haven't seen before that's going to take you from photographer to visionary? You know, that is just something that you've got to learn on your own. And honestly, we live in a day and time where a visionary is going to soar much faster. Are you just someone who's going to school to memorize, take the test, and just following what the teacher says so that you can just kind of get through it? Or are you really growing from this experience? I think internships are more valuable than the school itself, in the sense of the internship is your foot in the door to hopefully get the job. So it doesn't stop at,
well, I'm just a really great worker and I've learned this and I've learned that and I think this is like...
No, that's not gonna make you stand out. There's a lot of people who have learned the same things you've learned. What makes you different? What makes you special? That's what the employers are looking for. They're looking for the gifted people who take them from satisfactory, okay, you just passed, to I'm gonna take your company to another level because I have a vision that nobody else has. That is something that has gotten me so much further because I've been very clear on my strengths and on my weaknesses, and I can go in an interview confidently letting them know, like, even what I don't know, I make up in the knowledge that I do have. You know, so it takes a certain level of really independent thinking that says, yes, I have these tools and I have this piece of paper that says I went to this great, wonderful college that's top 5 and da-da-da-da-da. But what about who you are that sets you apart from everybody else? Until you figure that out, you're not going to stand out.
What I need is for you to know that I know you. I've seen hundreds of you jerk-offs blow through these doors. You've graduated, what, top 10, top 5% of your class, right? Test scores through the roof, but a total fucking retard when it comes to actual patience. I know you.
Just like going to an internship is meant for networking, going to school is meant for networking as well. Mark Zuckerberg, The Social Network movie. That movie changed my perspective on entrepreneurship in such an incredible way, and I loved the actor that played Mark Zuckerberg, by the way. It just goes to show that you can go to even Harvard and you learn coding and you learn this and you learn that, and you realize that's great, but who's going to be the next inventor of one of the most life-changing social experiments ever? There is no way that if you're in a class of 10, 15, 20 people, at least one person is going to be successful in that class. You should be networking and talking to every single person simply because you don't necessarily know where you're going to end up. You don't know who's going to inspire you to be like, oh my gosh, you know, I never thought of that, but you really gave me an idea. Not only that, but maybe you could end up working with these people. Maybe they'll be like, all I ever really knew about you was you were a photographer. I just started this new company. I need a photographer. Just consistently sell yourself in the classroom, to the teachers, in the offices. I mean, honestly, whether you're failing or not, you will never ever fail by making sure that you talk to people, making sure that you connect with people. Follow them on social media, engage with them, comment on their posts, start conversations with them, send them a DM to say, hey, I'm actually having a couple friends out. Speaking of social media, if you've ever wanted to learn how to network on social media, definitely hit up the link below because I definitely talk about that too. I just want to network. I just want to keep people in my arena that are bound to be successful people. Just keeping yourself surrounded by people who have the same focus as you. If you're not a leader, be a follower, because more than likely you will learn something or be inspired by that leader that will take you to the next level. Now, can leadership be learned in school? Bishop T.D. Jakes has a lecture on leadership that changed my perspective. Once again, definitely watch it and definitely watch the full video linked below.
You have to understand though, and I want you to get this in your mind and in your heart and most of all in your head about leadership. When you begin to grapple with leadership and life begins to move you along, career, opportunities, or I believe the presence of the Holy Spirit begins to move you along. Because promotion really doesn't come from the east or the west, it really does come from God. It is possible for life to lead you faster than your mind is prepared to handle. God can move you into such a place that positionally you are in a state of leadership, but mentally and emotionally you really haven't got a grip on what life has handed you. And if you don't know what you have, you don't know how to take care of it. If you don't know how to take care of it, you can mess around and lose it. The truth of the matter is, leaders come from ordinary places. They deal with ordinary issues. And I'm going to share some things with you that I think are very, very helpful for you to realize. First of all, I want you to understand that when you're saying to yourself that you want to be a great leader and you want to really go the extra mile and you want to do what has to be done, you're asking for trouble. A general manager might not make as much as a regional manager. A CEO would make more than a regional manager. Let me tell you something. They're paying you for conflict. Are you hearing what I'm saying? It's not enough to have the degrees. What they're paying you for is your ability to manage conflict and pressure and struggles.
Like I said, straight gems. You don't have to be religious to recognize real leadership. Thank you guys so much for watching. Tell me about what you think. Tell me if you're sort of in a battle right now trying to figure out what you should do, if you should go to school or not. And if so, drop that major. Let me see what majors are watching this video. Let me know what profession you're interested in getting in. Until next time.